Hey posers, welcome to another one of the Wrestling Revolution Smackdown reviews brought to you by the award-winning, critically acclaimed, black and white delight, Grumpy Cheeto.
Hey phonies, were you expecting somebody else? Somebody that blows up your apartment buildings? I'm gonna talk about this later in the video, but right now, I'm doing the Smackdown review since that phony took over my channel for the Impact review. So I'm gonna take over his channel for the Smackdown review. Before I go into the Smackdown review, I would like to thank the 3 subscribers that subscribed to this channel over the last week. That being, I might goof these names up and I apologize, but King Christian North PA, Andy Sutton 1, and Rar Lama Panda. If I goofed up your guys' names, I apologize. I'd like to thank you for subscribing to this channel, but if you really want to subscribe to a better channel, Classic 1333 with Crazy Pretzel is the way to go. You know, Mick Foley cheap out there. But seriously guys, thanks for subbing to this channel. So anyway, I'm doing the Smackdown review in Spokane, Washington, which is not in my backyard, and it's not in Grumpy's backyard either. This guy thinks that he like lives like in every single part of the frickin' world or something, that the world revolves around him in some way. What, does he have like a satellite or something that he looks at everything at all times? What, is he a government type person? Anyway, so I'm doing the Smackdown review from Spokane, Washington, and tonight's Smackdown was pretty good for the most part. The second hour kind of took the show down just a tad for me, but for the most part it was pretty good though. For a while, like, if you guys were wondering if Michael Cole was going to be a bad guy or not, because, like, on Raw he apologized to Lawler, and I guess he wasn't doing as much heel stuff as he normally does, he's still a bad guy, like, on this show. Although what's interesting is his coal mine isn't there anymore. He's sitting by Booker T and Josh Matthews on the show. So we start the show off with a 7-minute promo. Randy Orton comes out, says, "I am Randy Orton. I am woman, hear me roar." And actually, he just says, "My name is Randy Orton. I am champion." Christian comes out and, you know, congratulates him for a victory, said, you know, that was one of the hardest matches of his career, that Orton deserves to be champion. Sheamus comes out, says that, Christian, it was actually funny, he says that Christian sounds like a, addict of a gambler or something, like that, you know, keeps losing and keeps losing, but, you know, promises to win back or something. It was kind of funny. He wants to be #1 contender, then Mark Henry comes out and rips on him, you know, same thing. So then Teddy Long comes out, so he makes a triple threat match of Christian versus Sheamus versus Mark Henry for the #1 contendership, and the winner faces Orton. So, probably at the next pay-per-view, Capital Punishment. That's what, it's on June 19th or something, I guess. I don't know. So that was the opening promo. Then we had a Sin Cara versus Chavo Guerrero match, which was just a good 5-minute matchup. I gave this match a 3 out of 5 Hobgoblins. This match was pretty good. Match starts off with some nice arm drags from Sin Cara. There was a nice running double knee spot by Chavo and a nice belly back suplex, which he starts taking over the match from there. And then Sin Cara pretty much takes over the rest of the matchup. A nice acai moonsault, I think that's what it's called, on the outside. He hits a springboard crossbody. And then he wins the matchup with this, like, they called it like a DDT, but it was like kind of like he basically was like spinning around Chavo or something, and then he like dropped him, like took him down and pinned him with it. Didn't really look like a DDT, but it was, you know, a pretty cool, flashy little move he did. So Sin Cara wins. Booker T, like, I gave Booker T the quote of the night, which that phony Grumpy hasn't given him over the last couple of weeks, but I gave him the quote of the night in this matchup. Chavo was working on Sin Cara's arm during the matchup, and he says, if he could take out the legs of Sin Cara, he'd have an easier time working on the arm. So basically, Booker T saying that working on the arm is completely wrong. You know, in wrestling matches, it's usually like the commentators always say, it's good to work on a body part and keep working it over, but it's like Booker T was ripping on it for not working on the legs. I'm just saying. So, but that was my quote of the night for him. Next, we had a Cody Rhodes promo before this matchup. It was kind of funny. He was like doing his usual bag thing. And then basically he was saying that, like, he considers himself a hero for, you know, hiding the people's ugly faces. So, it was funny. And actually what's even funnier is how that some of these stupid fans actually put the bags over their heads, thinking, like, you know, that they're cool and it's what they're supposed to do, but, like, really they're just, like, you know, embracing the fact that they're ugly, which, you know, Rhodes is putting over. So to fans that do that on TV, you're stupid. But anyway, Daniel Bryan versus Cody Rhodes, one-on-one. I gave this match a 3 out of 5 Scorpions. It was a pretty good matchup. Like, the match started off like with this, both guys were like going kind of back and forth, you know, with, you know, trying moves and missing and countering. There was a cool like little roll through move that Bryan did to Rhodes. Like he like was like Rhodes was on his stomach, and then Bryan like was kind of like had his legs up for kind of like a surfboard, was gonna pull him back, but instead of like he couldn't, like Rhodes kept fighting him off, so he couldn't pull him in it. So he just like lifts his legs up and just stomps on like both of his legs and stuff. There goes my notes. But he like did that to him, and it was like really awesome move. So I was really impressed with that. There was a hip toss to the floor by Rhodes to start taking over the match again, and then we went to a commercial. Come back, and then Rhodes is pretty much taking over the matchup with a nice chicken wing, and then Bryan hits a nice like running drop kick in the corner, and then a missile drop kick off the top for a 2 count, and then he starts to lock in the label lock, and then Rhodes like taps out before the move was like really applied. So I thought that was kind of weird. That's really why I didn't give the match a 4 out of 5, but I gave it a 3 out of 5. But after the matchup, Rhodes just beats the crap out of Bryan. Like, he beats him up in the outside a little bit and hits a crossroads on him. So even though he, like, you know, I guess, like, he figured he was going to lose the matchup, so he just, you know, said, fuck it, loses it, and then beats the shit out of him afterwards. So, I liked it. Good matchup. Next we have a, what the fuck moment of the show. Like, they show the commentators at ringside talking, and they're promoting the Capital Punishment pay-per-view or something at June 19th. And then Booker T's like, now, I wonder what President Obama would do if they had it. So, like, they show, like, it's like a Garfield and Friends little dream sequencey type thing. So they show, like, Obama, like, walking up to the stage, and then, like, they edit in, like, WWE people, like, asking questions, like, press people. And then they basically edit in Obama just answering it or something. It was really stupid. Just really, really stupid. I don't... You know, as much as people don't like TNA, TNA does not do stupid shit like that, you know? They don't edit and make believe shit. They don't do the PG stuff. It's TV-14. But whatever. Next we had Heath Slater versus Domination Ezekiel Jackson. I gave this match a 2 out of 5. Dr. Octopus. Dr. Octopus, he's Dr. Octopus. But anyway... this match went about 3 minutes. Basically, Ezekiel Jackson just pretty much beat the crap out of Slater. Slater had a slight bit of offense and almost pinned Jackson at one point, but basically Jackson just beat him up for most of the matchup, and then the Core came out to cause a disqualification. Then Jackson fought all 3 of them off and was holding his ground. So, that was that. Match could have been longer, but it wasn't bad for what it was. Then we had Christian backstage, and basically, like, he had a kind of an interesting promo. It was like the whole underdogish type thing, but he basically said that, like, he was comparing, like, going back to his school childhood, and he said something weird about him. He was like the last person in his class to go through puberty, but then he had like the hottest girlfriend at his prom or something, and then, you know, he was like, and now I'm like, you know, the last person that anyone would have expected to win the world titles. So a weird comparison, but I guess it did its point. Next we had the Great Khali versus Kane, and they called it, they themed it Monsters Brawl, but it wasn't like a no DQ match, so I don't know why they did that, but just to be stupid, I guess, for whatever. I gave this match a 1 out of 5 shockers, just because the Great Khali wrestling is horrible. You know what? Actually, it was kind of funny. Booker T like was comparing the Khali trade, or the Big Show trade to Raw, the Khali trade to SmackDown. Kind of like, yeah, we're losing a big guy, but we're gaining a big guy. And then he then later say something about the Khali is a tad slower. He ain't kidding. So I don't even think Khali even runs in his matches. I don't think he runs at all. So actually, watching Khali wrestle made me realize that even though, like, I know I'm not a big Rob Terry fan, at least Rob Terry, like, can actually run in his matches and, like, try to have a good matchup. So it's kind of sad that Rob Terry is actually a better big man than Great Khali. But anyway, going to this matchup, I really didn't write anything down because nothing was too impressive. Kane won the match with a clothesline off the top rope on Great Khali. And then, Jinder Mahal comes out and, like, basically, like, he starts, like, you know, talking Indian to Khali, which I was able to translate. He basically told Khali that WWE needs tag teams and they want them to team up, and he wants you to turn heel and destroy Ramjan Singh. That's probably what he said to him. And that's pretty much what happened. He, like said something to Khali and slapped him, and then Ranjam Singh's like, yeah, you see that? He could crush you, and then Khali vice grips him. It was kind of funny. When Big Show got hit, well, speaking of that's coming up next, but they show a recap of the whole, like, Big Show and Kane losing the tag titles on Raw, and then Big Show getting hit by a car. That was probably the worst car hitting thing I've ever seen in wrestling. I mean, you know, they've done some good ones back in the day, but this one was just terrible. They didn't even show, like, the car, like, on Raw even hitting Big Show. You just heard a sound effect noise, and Kane's like, holy shit, and runs, and then the Big Show's like, you know, holding his knee, and they show, like, you know, ADR and Eddie Munster, like, by the car. And, like, the car doesn't even look damaged at all. Like, it's not even damaged. So, that was just terrible on Raw. Next, we got Booker T in the ring, and he invites Cole to come into the ring. And then, basically, he rips fun of him and starts a Kiss My Feet chant. So this segment really didn't do anything for me. Next, we had Sheamus backstage, and then he talks about Christian and Henry having opportunity, or Christian having an opportunity and, you know, didn't make it. Then he says something funny about how Mark Henry's been like in WWE since the Bill Clinton administration and hasn't, you know, won it yet. So that was kind of funny. Then we had Alicia Fox and Tamina versus Caitlyn and AJ. I know AJ was in NXT Season 3, like when I actually watched that for a little bit. I think Caitlyn was too. Didn't she win it or something? I don't know. I barely know these divas. But they gave this match 1 out of 5 kingpins just because it went like 1 minute. Piece of shit in this matchup. There were some okay moves on the matchup. AJ did a nice head scissors on Alicia Fox. Pretty much Alicia Fox just worked the matchup. Caitlyn did a nice side slam on Alicia Fox, and then Alicia Fox won the match for her team with a scissors kick. So, some nice moves. This match should have went longer. Next, we had a Mark Henry interview backstage, and basically, he was just fuming about what Sheamus said, and then Stryker was there, and he was basically intimidating Stryker. He's like, do you think I'm an underachiever? Do you think I don't listen well? And do you think I'm stupid? And then, like, Stryker was, like, afraid to answer him, and he's like, yeah, that's what I thought. Just bullying him. Nice little backstage interview. Main event time, we had Sheamus versus Mark Henry versus Christian. I gave this a 4 out of 5 Carnages. This matchup was pretty good. Lots of good moves in it. Match starts off, Christian drop holds Sheamus into the ring steps, and then later in the match, Christian hits an unprettier on Sheamus, and then Mark Henry broke it up. And then Randy Orton comes out, so then we go to a commercial break. He's just sitting at ringside watching it. So we come back, and then Henry's taking over for a while. He's beating up Christian, bear hugging him, and then Sheamus comes in the ring, and then Henry, like, grabs him and, like, throws him over the ring. It was pretty impressive. Henry beats on Christian for a little bit longer. Then there was a cool spot where, like, Christian hit, like, a missile drop kick, like, or from the second rope on Henry, and then he climbed up there, and then Sheamus, like, crotched him at first, and then Christian started punching him, and knocked him off, and then he went for a crossbody on Henry, and then Henry catches him, world's strongest slam, goes to pin him, and Sheamus breaks it up, and then Christian hits a nice tornado DDT on Sheamus, and then, finish of the matchup was, like, Christian hits a spear on Sheamus, and Henry had pushed down Orton, and then Orton comes on the ring and RKOs him. So Christian goes to pin Sheamus, but only gets a 2 count. He starts, you know, to argue with the ref a little bit over the count, and then Sheamus bro kicks him and beats him. So Sheamus is your #1 contender against Orton. I'm not really a big fan of that. This match was good, not taking anything away from the match, but I disagree with the outcome because we've seen Orton versus Sheamus, you know, how many times, and they just really don't have good, like, chemistry with each other, you know? So that kind of sucks. I kind of wanted to see Mark Henry versus Orton. They never really, like, had a match against each other. They, like, the only time they really did anything was back when Mark Henry first went to Raw from being on SmackDown for a while. And, that was back when Orton was running some kind of gauntlet or something. I think he, like, fought Evan Bourne and beat him. Then he fought MVP and beat him, I think. And then Henry was the last one came out, and he actually pinned Orton. So, but they never did anything with that. So it's kind of like, you know, we never got to see that feud. So I'd kind of like to see Henry versus Orton. Orton would probably beat him anyways, But it would be nice to have something a little bit new instead of, rehashing Sheamus versus Orton again, So, anyway, that was SmackDown. Grumpy, I really don't appreciate you blowing up my apartment, I mean, the bomb went off. I mean, you freaking tried to kill me. You tried to freaking kill me. The freaking explosion. Luckily, the explosion just threw me out a window from the second story, so, hopefully I only got like a back injury, but you freaking blew up my apartment. There could have been other people in that building that you could have killed. I mean, you talk about the fact that, me beating up Bobby Black and Wesley White is so bad and wrong. I just sent those guys to the hospital. I didn't actually try to blow up a building like a freaking terrorist with people inside that could have been killed. I mean, why do you people think I'm so bad? I mean, I attacked 2 people. This guy could have killed somebody. Grumpy, there's only one way to settle this feud. We're gonna do it we're gonna go WWE kind of old school with a 3 stages of hell match. Except we're gonna do it a little differently, though. I don't want to just fight you, wrestle you. No, I want to embarrass you. I want to show the world just how weak you are at skills. So, I tell you what, we're gonna, if it's okay with you, this was my idea. You remember Wrestling Fan 777777, the guy that you feuded with at last year's WrestleMania, that you narrowly escaped a victory from? Why don't we let him choose the stipulations in this 2 out of 3 falls thing? I look forward to it because I know he can choose, fair concepts, fair ideas. This guy is just lots of good ideas. So I can't wait for you to accept it because I know you will. And I'm going to embarrass you, I'm going to humiliate you, and I'm going to show the whole world that I own your ass and that you are absolutely nothing compared to Crazy Pretzel. And then after I beat you, you'll have no choice but to make my Crazy Pretzel shirt. Things are gonna change. It's gonna be written on the back of it. Maybe you should make me a hoodie, actually. I like hoodies. So make me a hoodie. So, not only that, well, I guess that's really all I wanted to. Well, that and you gotta frickin' pay, the $200,000 damage you did to my frickin' apartment building. I mean, those guys are, like, going crazy on me about this thing. Like, they act like it's my fault that I blew up a bomb in my own building. Why would I do that, I'm not stupid. So, yeah. So besides that Crazy Pretzel shirt, you owe me $200,000 too for the damages you did. So, and you better pay up. And after this challenge, I'm gonna make you pay up. Well, whatever. To the rest of the subscribers on this channel, thanks for watching, phonies. Totally appreciate it. And be sure to check out the Classic 1333 channel where Crazy Pretzel has taken over it and has made the channel better. Peace out, phonies.